Hey, just wanted to reach out to everyone as you're probably wrapping up reading on the Common Reader. And I just wanted to go over your semester project and talk about it for just a few minutes. I'm in weekly folders, and I clicked over here in the semester project phase description. This folder is always here. You can access it anytime you need to, or you need to check up on something. But I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to talk about this semester project. So I've got it open already, and let's take a look at it. It is worth 35% of your semester grade and will be based on the Common Reader, The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. You can pick a topic that's related to the book. So if you'll look in the discussion board, there's already been some discussion going on about some of the things that you might want to write a website over. You just need to make sure that when you're thinking about your topic and you're wanting to put a website out there, keep in mind that this is a 5-page website, and one of the pages has to be your home page, and the other page has to be a contact page, which it will have some sort of form on it. Okay, so really you've got 3 good pages of dig down into some information and give a user some information, which right now probably seems like overwhelming. But when you actually get into putting out information to the public, it's like, oh my gosh, I think I could use about 10 more pages sometimes. So just keep it simple. This was a beginning class. Let's keep it simple. Okay, we're writing the code to make things work, um, and and just keep that in mind. Okay, the requirements for this project. So I told you it will contain a home page and 3 content pages for a total of 4 pages plus a contact page using a form. So all of these things we'll go over. Don't worry, we'll have chapters that cover forms, but it has to be 5 pages. I take points off if you go over 5 pages. I take points off if you go under 5 pages. 5 pages is the magic number. Okay, you must hard code your pages. You cannot use web page developing software. Okay, you have to use some sort of text editor. You cannot use any kind of software to help you build these pages. You're required to create an external style sheet. I know that you're learning about style sheets in chapter 3, and you're learning how to put them in line, and you're also learning how to embed them into the pages. But we will be using external style sheets. They will be in their own folder and connected to your pages. So I've got some videos that show you how to do that. So we'll make it real easy. It's just a real simple. What are you going to call the folder? What are you going to call the style sheet? We're going to do a link for it. You must publish your project to the internet. So I give you space on the CIS department web server, and this is beginning in phase 3. You will start publishing your pages out there to the server, so you can start watching them come alive. Our servers are case sensitive, and no uppercase lettering in your file names. Now, if I'm calling something my home page, of course, when the public sees it, it is capitalized and it looks great. And it's spelled correctly, it's got all kinds of good grammar on it. But when we write things in the code, that all needs to be lowercase. I also don't want you to put any kind of spaces or any special characters in your file names. Just keep them simple, short, and to the point when you're naming your pages. Okay. As you make changes to your pages throughout your project, you must always re-upload your files to the web server. So on the web server, you just have to keep everything current. So at the end of the day, if you made some changes in Notepad++ to your pages or TextWrangler, whatever you're using, and you made some changes, update it at the end of the day, and throw them out to the web server. So we always try to keep them in the most current and live all the time. Your pages have to render in Firefox, Chrome, and IE. Okay, and I also, just for all my Mac users out there, I do test them out in Safari, and I use an iPad. I use a Surface Pro. I've got big screens, I've got small screens, and I like to peruse through them on my phone when I get a moment as well. Okay, so we'll have mobile queries that go with these too. You're going to use a theme for the entire website. The theme and the subject of the website is going to be your choice, but it must be based on the common reader. So, in order for us to get started with this, you're going to need to write up your idea for the book, for the page, and you're going to submit that in your phase one. And we'll go over that in just a second. I have to approve this before you can proceed on. All of your images and videos that you use for your own website are going to be in their own folder, and they're going to be linked to your pages as well. I said you're going to put your style sheets in its own folder. Your style sheets and your pages all have to pass validation. So everything within all of your pages, all of your CSS has to pass validation. And actually, that's the first grade that I do is I run your pages through a validator. So when I look at it, that's the very first thing I do, and I put it at the bottom of the rubric. And I keep thinking, gosh, I need to change that. Put it at the top because that's the number one thing that I grade with first. Your websites also must display on mobile devices to include smartphones and tablets. I do test them out on both of those. And we will discuss and talk about mobile queries as we go along, okay? I know this is kind of all overwhelming, and that's why I didn't do this the very first day, so you can kind of let things soak in just a little bit and get your routine going with this class, okay? Everything that I'm talking about here within this project, you will learn in the book and you'll practice it so you'll be able to apply it to your page. So don't stress out over this just yet. You will use appropriate meta tags to include a description and content, char set, viewport, and content. So you've already looked and you've already put in one meta tag, and that's called your char set. So, hey, we're making some progress. One page is going to utilize a table effectively, so we'll talk about tables in Chapter 8. You're going to have one email hyperlink to your @emeraldcollege.com email address. Usually we put that in the footer, and so I'll give you some ideas of how to write that out. You're going to have one external hyperlink that has to open in a new tab or window. So if you're referencing some other people's website, you got some information off their website, and you want to put a link out there on your website to their website so people can go out and get more information if they want to, this would be a great thing to add in, and actually it's part of the requirements. So you'll need a consistent banner logo area with each page, and it's got to be titled appropriately. So in one of your homework assignments in 2.13, you were learning how to title those pages appropriately. So that's something that you'll be practicing again with your pages. Consistent main navigation. So in 2.13, you also learned how to write the index page, make it just the way you wanted it, your footer, your nav, the titles up there, and then you copied it. So this is how we are consistent with our pages. I think if you go back and read 2.13, it tells you that explicitly in the directions. You have to have that association with the external style sheet, and it has to be in its own folder. All images and videos are in a folder using proper alt tags. So we write everything to be ADA compliant. So that includes having alt tags for all of our images that we put out on our pages. You'll need one feature on your pages. This could include some kind of flash. You could put a YouTube video out there. You could do a CSS image gallery or a transition, something. The more you do, you at least need one feature, but the more you do, the more points that you get, okay? And it's real easy to add some of this stuff in, and I'll be sending out more information about that as we go along too. One page containing a form with at least 3 different types of elements. So maybe you've got a text box, a checkbox, radio box, scrolling, this doesn't include your submit button, but you'll need like maybe their first name, their last name, their email address. I mean, those are different form elements. So We'll learn how to write these, and then also once you learn how to write them and you learn how to do the scripts for them, and I have free scripts for the processing, but you can either choose to write your own form, or you can also use a free form processing service like FormBuddy or JotForm and put your form on the page as well. And so I've got a little video that I'll be sending out on that too. Each page, not just the home page, but each page must pass validation. So everything you do, I can't reiterate that enough. Validate, validate, validate. Okay. I will evaluate your project on rubrics. So all the rubrics have been included in this folder as well, and you must write for best practices. I also include best practices sheet in here, and I ask that you fill out best practice sheets for all of your website. Your website also has to have some visual appeal. It can't just be random, each page looking something different. It can't be all weirded out. Okay, so we'll talk about that too. Visual appeal is very important, and it must accomplish your objectives. So you're the one that lays out those objectives. Now, in the very beginning, when you're working on your project, it is flexible. Things are flexible. So you send in, like next week, you'll be sending in a wireframe and sitemaps. And those are not set in stone. As you progress and you work on your project and things change so they better suit your need, when you change your wireframe or you change your sitemap, you send me those updates and we're good. So we're always constantly updating and working as long as you're documenting. I am okay with making changes. Nothing is set in stone until you send it in on that final phase for your final project, for your final grade. That's when everything is done. Okay, so let's take a look at phase one. So I went back over here, and like I said, all the phases are here. Best practices is here. You can see how to fill out the best practices, and then you have a blank one to work with as well. And guess what? I'll talk about SSH here in just a little bit too. So let's look at phase one. So phase one, all it is, I want you to answer these questions in a Word document to me. One page, double spaced, write this out. What's the purpose of the site? What do you want the website to accomplish? Who's your intended audience? What opportunity, problem, or issue is your site addressing? What type of content might be included in your site? And list at least two similar or related or similar sites that you found on the web. So I have to approve this before you can begin. And usually on the rubric, I put in some comments, and then I'll tell you, hey, go for it, or hey, let's talk about this a little bit more. So I'm looking for that purpose, and if you have that website name, that's awesome. Put that in there. Clearly describe the terms of age, gender, interests, socioeconomic criteria. So content, what are you using? Text, graphics, media. Clearly describe some of the things that you see your website having, and then list some of those URLs. You can have two, you can have more. If you found some more, that's great, put them in there. And then I'm always grading on complete sentences, grammar, and spelling. So let's take a look back at your weekly folder this week. If you notice, in week 2 you do have phase 1, so there's always going to be a folder that's going to have drop boxes inside there to submit your semester project phases. So let's open this up. I always try to include that semester project just in case you're looking for it and you need to reread what it's going to be about. Here's that rubric for phase 1. I include it here again, and here's the drop box. So you must open this up, and you can copy and paste over into the right submission, or you can upload your document. Either way works for me, but this is due by Monday. The sooner you get it in, the sooner I can read over it, see if we're good to go, and the sooner you can start on your semester project. So let me go back to weekly folders, and let me go back to that semester project phase description again. So the SSH. Here are some instructions for the SSH. The only thing I can tell you is read these step by step. Don't skip over anything. Follow everything to a T. If you have issues, I have another document out here that will deal with those issues. We are going to be using this SSH Secure File Transfer, the yellow folder. Okay, that's the one after you have gone out to the Amarillo College CIS software website and gone out and installed the SSH. And I usually get the latest edition, so it may be 3.2.11 by now. They change so fast I can't keep up with my documents. But get the latest and greatest. Okay. As soon as you get it installed, try to connect. Okay, so the host name, when you do the quick connect, and I'm just going to show you real quick. So when I do the quick connect, it looks something like this. So I quick connect, I put in the host name, which is cis.actx.edu. Your username is going to be your first initial followed by your last name. Mine is supposed to be K Boatman, but since I'm instructor, they had to give me a little bit different one. The port number is going to be 22. You can leave this alone and click on connect. So when you click on connect, it is going to do something very interesting sometime today. Maybe. Unless we're down. uh, okay, so I have an issue here. Every once in a while, your ISP will give you a new IP address, and that's what looks like happened here. So that means that what I need to do is follow the step-by-step instructions on how to fix this. If it would have came up that it just wanted a password, then your password is going to be your first name followed by your last name initial. Like mine would be Karen B, all lowercase. Everything we do is lowercase. So once you walk through all of this, I'll try to send out, as soon as I get my IP address unblocked, I'll try to send out some information on how the SSH works. Okay. After that, we'll go from there. Then, if you want to view your files live, or you want to send them out on Facebook or send them to your friends, this is your link on how to do that. So this thing right here is called a tilde. Between the forward slash and your username, which is your first initial, your last name, that's a tilde. That can be found by the 1 on the keyboard, and when you hit shift and that key up there by the 1, it's got a little tilde. That's how you get that tilde. And I put that on here so you can see exactly where it's at and how to go get it. Okay. And then I will send out another video telling you just how to upload those files and make sure that everything's good. It's all in writing here, but sometimes I find it's a lot easier when I see it live. Okay, so if you're having problems like I am connecting to the SSH, and you see, wow, this message, isn't that what we just saw? So what you need to do is you're going to have to go out to Google, what's my IP address, and then you're going to email Joseph at, here's his email address, and CC me at this address. Okay, put in the subject line, help connect to the SSH server. Put the IP address in the bottom with a note about your connection problem, including the time and date of your attempt to connect. Because a lot of time we get so many hits on the server that we can narrow it down by date and time. Okay, so your email might look something like this. And as soon as Joseph doesn't work 24/7 like I do with this class. So when he's at work and he gets this message, he will unblock your IP address so that you can have a connection with the server. And so it looks like as soon as I get off of here with you guys, I am going to have to go unblock my connection and fix myself so I can continue helping y'all with another video. Okay, if you have any questions though about your phases, about your project, please shoot me an email, and then wait for round two with the SSH connection.